Okay, so welcome back everyone. Our second speaker is Orlando Zelaya. As a member of both IFMA and the Economic Developers Association of Canada, Orlando brings almost 30 years of facility management experience to this session. After graduating with a Master's of Environmental Studies, he went on to work for 20 years as a financial manager with the Development Bank. He then moved on to facility management where he worked for 8 years and then moved into the teaching field and worked for the past 20 years as both university and college professor. Currently, he works as the manager of FM services at ServiceMaster, and he's here to discuss his experiences with sustainability and facility management. So, welcome, Orlando Zelaya.
I guess he wanted to say that I'm a field and manager. I'd like to start actually from the end of my presentation. Okay. So if you have any question, that's my question. And we will come back to that one later on. So let's go to the beginning, yes. Okay, so we're going to talk about a little bit of some environmental facts that you know, okay? And we try to build out what I need from you because I want you to ask questions, okay? Some of the lead Canada structure that we have, that we know, we're familiar with, the LEED certification benefits that buildings like Steve's have, or may have, the Union Gas LEED Gold building. I wanted to use this as an example. Okay, as a ServiceMaster, we look at myself. I look after 1,400 facilities. One of them, sorry, is one. Okay, so I wanted to use it as an example. So let's move on. As you know, 48% of all energy is consumption, right, by the buildings. Right? And you have different data, but I got this from somewhere. Okay. At the end of the day, the buildings are the main, or one of the main sources of pollution. Okay, from the beginning to when it becomes operational. 25 billion tons of carbon dioxide, right, go into the atmosphere because of the fossil fuel use that we use, okay, and the traditional construction and the traditional operation of the buildings. 48% is gold, 43% petroleum, 40% natural gas. Okay? 4 billion gallons of water are used in just flushing the toilets. Okay? You may be familiar now with the waterless urinals. The building I will show you actually still uses flushable urinals. Okay? Up to 2.5% pounds of solid waste per square feet are disposed into the landfills most of the time from the constructors. Okay? So you know that in 1993 the U.S. actually started the movement to create a benchmark that they call LEED, right? To establish some parameters to change the way we start building or using the building. And we implemented this later on until 2003. So the Green Business Council in Canada basically borrowed the same ideas from the US. The difference is that we have somehow a different kind of climate in most of the states in the US. But regardless of what, we are using the same idea, the same approach. So the same requirements are valid in the US and in Canada. And I will go through using the same criteria when I explain to the difference between the traditional construction and the new construction that we use in this building, which by the way was built by Aecon as a contractor. We sit around as a facility manager. The first criteria is sustainable site construction, water efficiency, energy and atmosphere, indoor environment quality, and innovation, which is not there in the LEED. okay? But it somehow is embedded in the concept of building a new type of buildings, okay? And they call innovation and design, going back to Steve, right? And basically, we try to address is the sustainability of the building, and design measures to criteria that will cover the other 5 categories above, okay? So let's see some of the benefits, okay? And you're familiar with these, but I just wanted to bring these back to your attention. To be certified is 20 to 32 points, right? And as you know, you can buy these points, right? Silver, 33 to 38. Gold, which is the building that we're talking about today, is 39 to 51. This building is actually 49 points, okay? And platinum, which is 52 plus whatever, is saying 69% positive. The whole building approach from design, again, going back to the same concept of design, is how you're going to use the building, right? How it's going to, in the particular case of sustainability, will be sustainable from today to the next 20 years, okay? Optimizing the environmental and economic factors. And the good thing about LEED is that we're using a third party to validate whatever we do. And then you get the plate, right? You get the certification. You can advertise with that your building or your company as a company are approaching the sustainability from the very same building that you occupied, okay? And they're receiving some exposure through the websites and whatnot, okay? Media exposure. As I said, we look after the different buildings for different companies. One of them is Union Gas. We look for all the different facilities, services. We look after all the needs they present to us. From having a help desk in Mississauga to having subcontractors, having people that work directly for us, and some vendors that are working for their own company, but we subcontract them. So we oversee the entire building, okay, all the needs inside and out. So let's look at the first criteria or requirement to be a LEED building. In the normal conventional construction, depending on the site, there may be or may not be some municipality or conservation authorities involved. Okay, you have to follow some building code. Okay, but the building code doesn't establish. I think Steve mentioned that we have been built up our built environment using a building code, right? But really it doesn't meet or see the future and the way that sustainability tried to, okay, with this approach. So the building LEEDs that I'm talking about today, we try to promote the public transportation in bicycling. You know that you get some free points if you have a bicycle rack at the end, at the entrance of your building. Okay. It seems to be like maybe it's not that enough, right? But it's still, it's to encourage you to use some different means of transportation. We're using, in this particular building, they're using a different grass or landscaping design, trying to reduce the sedimentation of the original soil. The storm water catching basins, right, are designed to remove the suspended solid. I don't have slides, but the way the slope is designed in the building reduces or increases the amount of sedimentation. And you know that in your course, I believe. The other criteria is the water efficiency. As you know, in the standard building, we're using whatever is beautiful for the building, and we use it. Okay. We're using more potable water for irrigation, for drinking water, for the flashers in the building. With this building, actually they adapted how the plants and the trees were planted and what kind of trees were planted to. They created, as I said, a different slope in the terrain to reduce the sedimentation. That was one of the points of preparing the foundation of the building, preparing the foundation of the landscape. Okay? Internally, they're using a high-efficiency dual flash toilets, and as I said at the beginning, they're still using urinals, which are flashed with water. Now, I will show you a video. They're collecting the rainwater at the roof, and they kept the water on the ground to use it as a water for the flashables. Okay, not as drinking water, but flushing. And it is expected to be 75 plus reduction in the water that is consumed from the municipality. Okay, the building has been for 2 years, so there's not enough data for me to say, over Union Gas anyway, to say this is how much we really are reducing the consumption of water. Okay, but the purpose is there, right? The energy efficiency. So we're talking about different aspects of energy and atmosphere. The electrical systems. We are used to light the rooms in different ways, using different type of lighting, right? If you go outside, you put some lights also, right? And then the building, including this one, building lights. And during the days, sometimes the lights are on. And the switches are usually manual. There's no sensor anywhere, right? We're not used to that. And this building, they use actually T5, as you know, right? It's a high efficiency type of fluorescent lamps. They have a sensor in each corridor, in each building, in each side of the building, sorry. So if nobody's there, there's no light, okay? It was as an experience, right? When they started, they moved people from a different building to this particular building, and people didn't get used to for a while, okay? You can still turn the switch on and off, right? And even the janitorial people at night were switching on and off. So for the first 3-6 months, the people were used to their own way to manage the lighting, okay? So it took a while of getting acquainted with whatever is new today. They're using all the equipment. I will show you the video. In the video, they're using high efficiency systems. Okay, when we talk about HVAC, electrical, and plumbing. We don't know, as I said, exactly how much will be in the next 5 years, or from day one to today, or from today to the next 3 years, how much will be the saving in energy, okay? We have to see that, but the point is that the building at night is dark, okay? Nobody's there, it's dark. And it's expected to reduce 30 to 40%. So again, in energy, let's see the mechanical system. So the standard construction, basically, we're talking about the overheat, right? Overhead, sorry, radiation, the heating in the building, using boilers, using different systems to maintain some kind of climate in the building, okay? Regardless of whether it's occupied or it's not occupied. It is to provide, as you know, some kind of quality in whatever you using as an area, right, inside the building. The ventilation is basically brought from the outside using the traditional way, which increases pollution inside and out. Now, in this building, right, you will see that the floor in the warehouse is actually heated by natural, not natural, but green energy. I don't want to go into the details to some of the things that they're using to reduce the energy besides the green, okay? But today, they're comfortable to say that by utilizing their approach, they are capable to reduce the use of energy by that kind of percentage, 25 to 35%. Okay, and I will leave the more for the question for you. Okay, the structure. Okay, so we are used to, as Steve was saying about the insulation, you can build the more thicker or thinner walls to either reduce or to increase insulation. And this is whatever has been done. Okay, so, we still follow the builder, ACON, and Union Gas still follow the same building code when it comes to insulation, right? But the level of insulation is higher in this building. And one of the things that they have is the way they design the windows. Okay, to want to maintain the window get very cold, right? To reduce that cold from inside, when you are inside, right? And also to reduce the greenhouse effect inside. All the appliances that we sold to them, right, are basically energy starved. Now the materials used basically are the same. You cannot use difference. However, the way you dispose that is what makes a difference in this building. Okay. So they selected somehow material that can be more friendly to be recycled. Okay. And they from the very beginning they use waste management Canada somehow to partnership in a way to reduce the amount of waste that otherwise will end up in the landfill. Okay? As I said, they still using the same concrete, the same ceramic tiles, PCT tiles, etc. But the way they dispose the material doesn't make a difference. The indoor quality. So we're not, when we build the buildings, we don't care about items such as the photocopier, which is very warm. We don't care much about where the people are sitting. We don't have windows here, right? In most of the buildings, they don't have windows, especially if you are in a cubicle, right? This building, actually, the Unit building, has a dedicated exhaust in each photocopier room. They have 3 photocopier rooms. They have sensors to manage the indoor quality. Okay, so you vent less or you vent more depending on different criteria. One is the humidity, the heat, the number of people in the room. So that will change if you have the atmosphere in this room right now. Maybe it's not set up for the number of people that we have right now here, and the humidity and the temperature. But we can change that. There's nothing that we can, there's nothing automatically that can be activated to change and have a better air quality. In this building, in each building, in each location, or in the building, they have that kind of technology. So the system is awake when the people are in the building. Otherwise, it goes. Innovation and design. We hear this more often now, right? Like installing solar panels in your house, in your buildings, and sell the surplus to the grid. Okay, but it's not common in the US. It's not common in Canada either, right? This building actually have a cogeneration system. Okay, they don't have solar panels. I'll show you. It's gas actually. The way that they generate energy. They are fully independent. Okay, as you may know, the technology is not there yet actually to sell electricity to the grid. Okay, it's not there. We're talking about that, having solar panels somewhere, and I can start selling. It's not 100% true. In no municipality possible. Okay. Let's go to this video, okay? And then we're going to start talking to your ideas about when we can be sustainable, okay? As I said, my background is today is facility management. I'm a building manager, okay? So we can talk about so how you play that?
In Ontario, the working place for 70 union gas employees. Open since June 2008, the facility is an inspiring showcase for energy-efficient, state-of-the-art natural gas technologies. The 1,700 square meter facility uses an incredible 53% less energy than similar buildings designed to the Canadian Model National Energy Code for buildings. More specifically, it uses 35% less electricity and 30% less natural gas for cooling and heating compared to other similar-sized buildings. And it generates its own electricity and can operate independent of the local utility grid. This center was instrumental in Union Gas becoming a founding partner in Grid Smart City, Burlington Hydro's initiative to transform the electricity system of today into the smart grid of tomorrow. The Union Gas Burlington Center is essentially comprised of three important interconnected systems: an HVAC system, electrical system, and a building control system. And, like any fine-tuned machine, all three work seamlessly to give the building life. Let's take a closer look. In plain view, just west of the main building, sits the center's most impressive feature, a natural gas micro-turbine cogeneration system that supplies heat and electricity. During business hours, micro-turbines supply heat in the form of hot water through an underground thermal storage system. These four micro-turbines connect to the building's heating system through pumps and flat-plate heat exchangers. And when the cogeneration system is offline, a high-efficiency 750,000 BTU natural gas condensing boiler activates to heat the facility. In the warehouse and service area, hot water circulates through pipes in the concrete floor. This in-floor heating system regulates ambient temperature, creating a comfortable working environment. It also quickly melts slush and snow tracked in by vehicles, adding to employee safety. And, for ultimate efficiency, heat generated during the day is recovered and stored in an underground tank. The diurnal thermal storage process heats the building at night when the micro-turbines are not operating. A gas-fired humidifier adds moisture to the air during the heating season if the energy recovery ventilator is unable to maintain target humidity levels. The optimum in self-sufficiency, the Union Gas Burlington facility generates its own electricity and does not need to buy power from the local utility. In fact, the combined heat and power system can produce more electricity than the building needs, allowing the company to sell surplus power to the utility grid. Heading into the building's office area, many subtle but important architectural features provide additional energy efficiencies and employee comfort. The pleasant, open design provides natural light and outdoor views for more than 90% of regularly occupied workspaces. Transom glass, light shelves, and reflective perimeter ceiling panels allow natural sunlight to penetrate deep into the office to achieve a minimum 75% daylight factor. An innovative water management system uses both rainwater and municipal water. The roof collects and routes rainwater to an underground cistern located in front of the building. This harvested water is used to flush toilets and urinals. Municipal water is used for the showers, kitchen, and bathroom sinks and is instantly heated by two natural gas tankless water heaters. This water management system is incredibly effective, with meter readings showing a savings of more than 50% in the facility's municipal water use. At the center of all this incredible technology resides the brains of the operation, a sophisticated, automated building control system. It manages the HVAC, lighting, security, and plumbing systems for maximum efficiency, shutting down all unnecessary power when the building is unoccupied. It even turns off outdoor yard lights at night unless motion is detected or the lights are activated by a card swipe. The building controls also allow the facility to continue to operate normally if the cogenerators are offline. It automatically taps into the information technology uninterruptible power supply within 7 to 10 seconds to ensure all critical equipment continue to get the power they need. And if there's a dry spell, the rainwater system seamlessly switches over to use municipal water. With all this incredible technology around us, it's important not to overlook two of the building's main benefits: employee comfort and pride. Union Gas is proud that its Burlington facility is more than just a pleasant place to work. It's a shining example of the company's leadership in sustainability and social responsibility.
Sorry, you can go ahead.
Oh, you had said it was too early right now to measure exactly what your savings have been. I was just wondering if you could maybe tell us a little bit about, from the facility management, what the plan is to track that, or what your timelines look like to see your energy use and your water use.
Yes, well, as you may, everybody knows, we have a computerized system, right? So every work order, every PM schedule, every penny that is spent either for maintenance, plant maintenance, or repairs is tracked. Okay, so that's the way we will track it, the outcome of. I should say this at the beginning. You may know it's more expensive to build a building, a LEED building today, than a conventional building. Okay, so to measure the cost benefit, so we have to wait time or collect more information over the next few years to see if the cost benefit is there from the financial point of view, right? From the environmental, yes, we're using a computerized system to track the different events. Like nothing is really perfect, even though all the high technology is there. Like you say, all the gadgets there is the way they design. So just to give you an idea, we have probably the first 6 months were a nightmare with the flashables. The pressure from the water, these cisternas at the front of the building, may not be the knowledge there, but the way they're designed that may not have been perfect. So for the first 6 months was like why don't we just use the normal water from the municipality, right? Because the plumbers have to come back, try to tune up the way that today, 3 years later, actually is working. Okay, so we have all this information recorded, so we have to see how it's going to be in the next few months or few years. Right.
Did your computer system replace, your facility person? Is there a facility person there overseeing the computer actions?
Union Gas outsources all the services to ServiceMaster, right? But they still have what they call building managers, right? And this the person in charge of this particular building is working out of Kingston, for example, right? So nobody's there, okay? So the only person in there, if you like, is our general maintenance technician, a ServiceMaster employee, who is there overseeing basically the everyday operations, right? When it comes to facilities. Okay. Sorry, do you have a question?
Looking across all your customers and facilities, maybe Steve can provide some input on this, but buildings that belong to companies like Union Gas, where they're utility or industrial based and probably more worried about function, are they easier to work with to attain sustainability because maybe they want just an efficient box rather than something with fins or something shiny?
I didn't understand your question. You're talking about let's say it's easier to work with a utility company because of the type of business, or with a bank or something like that?
Yeah, so maybe
right?
Their values rely more in the
values
function
yes,
rather than form. Yeah.
Probably. And if you see after the accident in the Gulf of Mexico, right? Most of the utilities companies and the US and Canada, they double check what they're doing, right? So they don't want to be in the position that the BP is today, right? The British Petroleum Company is today. So they are tackling very closely whatever they do in their facilities. It is very easy to work with Union Gas. They have, before the accident and many decades ago, they have a concept of being sustainable, friendly with the environment. Just keep in mind that they have to be that way because most of the pipes, or all the pipes, I would say, are coming through the Aboriginal land. Okay, so they have partnership. Okay, they pay the duties to all the tribes and the bands, and they have to keep some way to show to the Aboriginal people that they are environmentally friendly. Okay, so that's one thing that they have to their bonus. They're really good company. They are really, really responsible for whatever they do. Okay.
I have a question about how you think a company decides that they're going to pursue LEED versus just to pursue efficient building. Like you could put cogeneration into a building, whether it's LEED or not. So do you think it's a marketing? Like, do you think it's for marketing, or do you think it's for energy savings? Why a person would pursue a LEED building rather than just design a good building?
I would say, without accusing anybody, right?
Yeah.
I would say there is more tendency today because of the market.
Yeah.
It's good to be LEED,
Yeah.
right? And the Green Building Council knows that,
Yeah.
right? The IFMA knows that. Most of the large organizations like IFMA, they know that. Because it's just a marketing tool today. It's good to be green, but it's not necessarily because it's proven to be cost efficient or effective for the company as a business enterprise. It's not there yet.
It seems like most of the added expense of a LEED building is more for documentation and paperwork rather than the actual system sometimes. So that's just why I was curious about the marketing.
Well, the system is working.
Yeah.
This is a proof that it's working. But it will take a few years to see the turnover, the turnaround, or whatever we're doing today. Some people say, well, okay, so I'm using solar panels to be environmentally friendly, but what will happen with these solar panels when they get the useful life ends? What will happen with that, right? The contents of them is more will add more pollution to whatever we have today in the landfills. Okay, there is no technology to dispose some of this green technology. There's no there yet. We know how to dispose the excellent of concrete that we use today. We know how to dispose the fluorescent lamps, but we don't know how we're going to dispose any added new technology that we have today as a green technology. We don't know.
I was just wondering if there is a difference between whether it's easier or just different between buildings that you manage that are LEED and buildings like your regular buildings that aren't certified, if there's a difference in how you have to manage them, or if one's more difficult, or how they're done.
I would say there is not much difference today, because even some of the standard or more business-oriented businesses, they still wanted to see some green products. Okay, when talking to janitorial, they wanted to see some green sealed products in their washrooms, or they wanted to see the landscaper doing reducing the amount of machinery they bring to their sites, or reducing the salt we applied during the winter, right? I don't think there is much different today. I don't see that differences between a bank and a union gas building. There's not much different. They wanted to see at the end of the day the same clean building, the same lighting, the same heating, the same air conditioning, just the same. Okay. Keep in mind that a building is about people. Okay. And people today, unfortunately, we are not yet there to be as an individual enough responsible to, as a whole, as a community, or as an occupants of any building, to change the way we using the facilities, the washrooms, for example. Okay, so we are used to that. So I think it's a whole movement that is just growing. We're not there yet to say we are in the right direction. I think we're moving. I don't think we are there yet. Okay.
So would part of your package as providing service to UNISCAP be training the people in the building how to use those systems?
That's right. That's right. So when it comes to, for example, the HVAC subcontractor that we were using, right? This company need to know this equipment, okay? So by default, if you like, the technician, the T1 or G1 technician that will go there, had to have some green training, okay, with the new technology. So in that way, we, from HVAC to the janitorial people, yes, somehow they need to know, they need to get acquainted with the technology that will encounter in whatever the building is. Okay. I don't know if that answers your question.
Okay. So it was more, are you the one providing that training? Like you're a company, or were you using contracts from the building?
If it is needed to.
Yeah.
If it is needed to. But it will be, as I said, by default, because I need, if you are not, then I will choose someone who is
Right. Okay.
trained or capable to train our own staff, or vice versa.
Well, Orlando, thanks again for coming. We really appreciate it.
Oh, that's
Yep. So once again, we'll have a 5-minute break, and we'll come back and we'll have our final speaker.